Yo, what's going on, fellas? In this video, we're going to be taking a look at everything you need to know about the meta defenses in Madden 24. So we're going to go through all of them. I believe there's 5 that we're going to be breaking down. The first one is going to be the 4-3 even 6-1. Now, to fully understand this defense, you need to realize that this is, in general, a shed defense. And we're going to break things down into either shed defenses or A-gap blitzes, right? Because there's a drastic difference between a shed defense, which, as you can see, you can get people to come in free out of this, but a lot of the times you're sending less than 5 or 6 people, which means that the game's going to automatically nano detect you. So at that point, you're then hoping to kind of pinball your way through the A gap, the B gap. Sometimes they'll even loop edge for whatever reason, but that's essentially what you're doing. Now, the perk of the 4-3 even 6-1, which is, it's a very simple setup. All you're doing is you're pinching your defensive line, you're crashing them down, and then you're going to user with your middle linebacker blitzed down on either edge, right? So you either want to be on the hip of the left defensive end or the hip of the right defensive end. A lot of people will sit in the middle, and that really makes these pinballs a lot less effective. Now, there is a issue with that when we talk about this in terms of like a full scheme, because you do want to be in the middle if you're going to send edge heat, which I'm going to show you right here. If you wanted to send edge heat, you would pinch your defensive line down, you would crash to a specific side, and then you would stand with your user blitzed in that A gap, right? So by standing in that A gap, as you see right here, and if you take your user and you go towards the blitz, you see how my user is going towards the side I'm blitzing. When you do that, that's going to trigger not only the edge heat coming in, but also a gap coming in as well. So that right there is really effective and probably the most meta of the blitz setups that you'll see from 4-3 even. It is extremely good. You can mix and match this, whether you're going edge heat, A-gap heat, like you just saw right there, or if you're going with your normal quote-unquote shed defense. Now, let's talk about some negatives to this, right? So if they want to blitz, as long as your running back is blocking on the side that they're blitzing from, which it's a symmetrical defensive formation, right? So you don't exactly know that. But you can pick up the blitz that way, right? So you'll see even right here, if I do the same concept to the right, I can get the edge heat or the A-gap heat coming in, although if you crash right, the A-gap heat doesn't come in nearly as consistently. It's mostly edge heat. But what you'll see is that a blocked running back is going to, for the most part, pick this up regardless. So you may be asking yourself, like, if blocking a running back with no slide protection or anything is like a true counter to this, what makes this so effective? And it's really the idea that you're sending 4 people, sometimes even 3 people, and getting those disengages up the middle when you're with your shed defense. Like, that is really good and really effective. It's more annoying than it is truly effective because you're relying on fluke in essence, but it's not fluky because it works so well. I mean, that's not a great way to really word that, but that's really the truth of it. But you also have the ability to get people in free if they don't block, meaning they send 5 receivers out. And then you can also get people in if you send 6 and they do block the running back, which I will go ahead and show you guys here in a second, which is basically the same thing that a lot of blitzes do. So, like, you have the ability to really get aggressive with this if you want, while also having a really good conservative shed defense. You see the difference here is we're going to go ahead and get the pressure in. That was the edge heat. The setup to that is to pinch your defensive line, crash away from the running back, and then you would blitz with your user and rush towards the side of the running back, right? So as long as you do that, you're going to get the edge heat opposite the blocked running back every single time. And that does not matter if it's to the left or to the right. And that is why 4-3 even 6-1 is probably the best overall pure defense in Madden 24, with the only issue being that it doesn't do a phenomenal job in terms of stopping RPOs. a lot of people will abuse RPOs when they see this defense, and that is because the pressure and the coverage scheme is not really designed at stopping RPOs. So kind of a perk and a a curse, a blessing and a curse in that sense. So take that for what it's worth. All right, guys. So in the next portion of this video, we're going to be taking a look at the nickel over formation, and nickel over and big nickel over G have the same blitz setup. And what that is you are going to call your play flipped. So you would just, before you get to the huddle, you would just flip your play. Simple as that. And you don't have to do this, but it is better flipped. I'll show you here in a second. But for the most part, you can mix and match what you want to run. I know a lot of people like running, the matches out of this, whether it be cover 6, whether it be cover 9, whether it be cover 4 palms, whether it be cover 4 quarters. And then the one that really has gained the most traction is honestly the 2-man under. That is something that Bugs made pretty popular throughout the MCS season. And of course, it's been ran by a ton of other people. I've also seen overload blitz. A lot of people like overload blitz as well. From over G, it's basically the same thing. I know a lot of people will use the SS blitzes as a way to bring extra pressure. You got to run the SS blitz. You would run the, cover 4 quarters, the cover 2, cover 3, SS linebacker blitz, all of that type of stuff. But just to kind of go ahead and show this, I'm going to show you the meta one, which is the one that I think you'll see more times than not. That's going to be out of the nickel over. So to kind of show this, I'm going to do a zone version. Just know that you can do this out of pretty much any play, and it's not really going to matter. Like I said, the main ones are going to be your match versions of this, whether it be cover 4 quarters, cover 4 palms, cover 6, and then 2-man under is the ones that you really see a lot of. So just show it to you right here. We're calling the play flipped, and we're going to do this out of Tampa 2 for this. And the setup is going to be to shift your defensive line to the left. You're going to base the line if they're not aligned correctly. But then once you shift your defensive line to the left, you're just going to blitz your linebackers twice. Hold on one second. All right, so it looks like that right there. And then what you want to do with your user is you want to stand on like the hip of the defensive tackle right here, and then you just want to loop to the right. So when you do this, if they are sending out 5 people, you're going to get that consistent A-gap pressure right up the middle, as you saw right there. And like I said, you can do this out of pretty much any play. It doesn't matter. That was cover 3. I must not have called my play flipped, but here we go. So here's it out of cover 3. Like I said, you're not really doing too much crazy stuff with it. It's just a really good A-gap blitz. And the weakness to this is that a blocked running back on the left will pick this up. So let me just go ahead and show that to you. Right? So if they were to simply block their running back on the left, you'll see it'll pick it up. Now, will he shed? Of course he can shed. But it's not going to come that consistent A-gap right up the middle. Now, just for the sake of this, I am going to come out and just reflip my play. Just because it's driving me crazy. We'll go ahead and show it to you again. So, like I said, it's very quick, very easy setup. You can make whatever adjustments that you want. If they send 5 out, you're going to get the A-gap pressure. If they block the running back on the left, it will pick it up. Simple as that. Like, not a whole lot to it. There's not a whole lot that you can do to actually counter it in terms of out of nickel over. Or big nickel over G for that matter. But what you can do, and where this blitz really shines, is against those formations where you have a running back to the right. Because if a running back is to the right, say it's like bunch flipped, or in most cases people running bunch strong. If they're running bunch strong or trips tight end, anything like that, this is the blitz that really is going to give those people problems. Not quite sure what happened there. All right, so, but basically, they block the running back to the right. You can see it doesn't matter. The running back to the right simply just never blocks them. So blocking the running back to the left, if you see this 4 defensive lineman A gap, that's the way that you want to go about it. And the other thing to note is if you want to send 5 people out, right? So if you were hell-bent on sending 5 out, whereas line shifting to the right does a good job at picking up most blitzes, most A-gap blitzes, you'll notice that this one does not, because the end or the A-gap will come in. But what you can do against this is you can line shift left, right? So if you were to go ahead and set this up, once again, same setup, same everything. This time we're just going to line shift to the left. You can see line shifting to the left right here will pick that blitz up if you want to send 5 out. So the 2 ways to counter it is to go ahead, block the running back on the left, has to be on the left, or to send 5 out and line shift to the left. Now, where you can get in trouble with the 5 out line shift left version is if they blitz that nickel corner, right? So if they do this right here, right? If they were to blitz this nickel corner, mostly seen in the overload blitz play, so it would look like this right here, right? So if they send this and you send 5 out but just shift left, you'll notice that you're going to just get screamed at by the corner coming in. Now, you have time still to make a quick read, but if it's a 4th and long or 3rd and long, just note that sending 5 out with that line shift is not always going to work. And like I said, that's going to work against nickel over G and nickel over. So same blitz setup, same blitz concept, 4 defensive linemen set. If they shift to the left to get the A-gap to come in, that's your pass protection that you want to use. So with that being said, we're going to move on to the next one, which is going to be out of the nickel 3-3. Going to be very quick because I've broke this down on the channel already. This is the defense that I choose as my main defense. All right, so now we're going to get into the nickel 3-3 formation, and the way that I set this up is pretty simple. I run a very simple version of this. I know some people like to base out of the nickel blitz 0, but I prefer to base out of the cover 4 drop and the cover 2 drop. Both of these are my personal preference, and this is the main defense that I personally run. So we're going to take a look at just how this works against 5 out and everything. So basically what you want to do here is you just want to pinch your defensive line, blitz all of your linebackers, and then you can zone out both your outside linebackers or user one of them, doesn't really matter. But basically, as long as you have the 3 defensive linemen rushing and the linebacker shooting into the A-gap on the left, if they send 5 people out, you're going to get that consistent A-gap pressure just like that. Now, this is obviously very simple, very easy to do. It's the way that I like going about it. Now, like I said, you can use either outside linebacker for this. It doesn't really matter. But what will happen if they were to go ahead and block a running back on the left, you can see that they will pick this up, right? So a blocked running back will sit there. It'll pick it up. Very easy thing to do, right? No slide protection, anything like that is needed. But where we can really, make this a really good blitz is, and we broke this down on the website, but if you were to go ahead and man up that running back and blitz your slot corner, right? So you're blitzing an additional person, you're blitzing 5, but if they were to block the running back, what you'll see happen is the running back is just always going to ignore that blitzing defender up the middle. And then if they start doing any sort of line shifting, then the corner will come in free as well. So that's the true counter to the blocked running back. All right, so the downside to this is we have to blitz more people to get the running back blocked on the left, to beat a blocked running back on the left. But if they were to go ahead and block the running back on the right, it does become a little bit less consistent, I would say. But what you'll see is a blocked running back on the right will obviously pick this up the best. But there will be times where he will still just come in for no real reason whatsoever. I don't know exactly what causes it and what stops it from coming in. Just note that there will be times that, like this right here, where it'll come in, the running back simply ignores him. There will be other times where the O-line picks it up perfectly. There is no way to consistently, that I'm aware of, make that happen. What you can do with this is you can man up the running back. So say they flip or the running back goes to the right. You could then man up that running back and then maybe bring down like a blitzer, right? So to kind of mimic what we were doing on the left-hand side. But you'll notice even when you do that, it doesn't always make the blitz come in. So for me personally, I consider this a counter to the blitz just because it's something that will pick it up, not necessarily more times than not, but it will pick it up in general. And if I can't get a blitz in 100% of the time, then I don't personally feel comfortable blitzing in that scenario. So what I do when the running back is on the right is I turn this more into a pure coverage defense. So if they base their stuff on blitzing me with the running back, or excuse me, with their running back on the right, whether it be a trips tight end, a bunch strong, anything like that, I will go ahead and I will simply zone out this defensive end. I will rush just those three people. And if my blitz comes in sending three, cool, but I'm not really expecting it to, right? So like that's the way that I go about it. More often than not, I do 30 and 5, and then I will just take this linebacker and kind of play deep. But yeah, I mean, like I said, as you can see, there's plenty of times where this blitz will come in with the running back blocked on the right, but there will be times when it simply doesn't. So I personally think that the best way to go about it is to zone out the defensive end in this scenario, and then, you know, just send those three people. And if they block them, cool. If they don't, they still have to pass into a ton of coverage. But yeah, as you can see, really good, really easy thing to do. Just not 100% consistent. And with me personally, I like having those, you know, 100% consistent blitzes. This is phenomenal to do when their running back is on the left. I feel really good against pretty much all the meta stuff, which I've broken down this defense on the website. So if you guys want to see like a full true breakdown of nickel 3-3, it's on the website, maddendaily.com. Not going to focus too much more on this because I feel like I've already broken this down before on here and on the website. But just know that this is, in my opinion, the best defense in the game. But I know a lot of people don't necessarily think that because I don't think they know the true issues that this defense has and how you can go about countering different things. Like we've shown you already how to beat the line shift right. We've shown you how to get pressure in with blocked left. Blocked right is the most consistent way to stop it, but as you've seen, sending three people, you can still dumb out that blocked run back on the right. So that being said, we're going to move along into the next part of this video, which is, I believe, going to be dime normal. All right, guys, so now we're taking a look at dime, and the play is going to be dime blitz 3. This is Kobo's blitz, I believe, or at least he is the one that made this popular. And the setup is to just base align press, pinch your defensive line, crash the defensive line down, and then your user kind of wants to mug in between the A gap, either on the left or the right. Doesn't really seem to have much difference in terms of who comes free, who doesn't come free. You can also mug outside of the tackles if you wanted to, but for the most part and the best success you're going to get with this, I do recommend being in the gap, either in front of one of the guards or pretty much just, like I said, in between the guard and the center. So as you can see, it is similar to the 4-3 even 6-1 in the sense that you're going to be generally getting this, you know, pinballed A-gap style pressure. A lot of the times it will come free from the defensive tackle on the left or the defensive end on the right. That is, for the most part, where you're going to get your pressure. So if you want to put your best players in those two spots, that's going to be what you're looking for. But in terms of just overall consistency, this blitz is not all that consistent. It is good against bunch. It's good against bunch strong. But besides that, I don't know where this truly fits in the overall meta. And out of all of the defenses that I'm breaking down for you, this is, without a doubt, in my opinion at least, the worst of the bunch. Now, you can change out of your cover 3 to get into just a cover 2, or you could set up, cover 4. You can't really man up too many people out of this. But with how easy the setup itself is, you could definitely make adjustments that you would want. But the pressure is just, I don't know. It's good. It will come free sometimes, and when it does come free, it's really hard to beat. But it's very similar to 4-3 even 6-1 in that sense that you cannot guarantee the pressure comes in. The only thing that I do like about it, really, is that it doesn't matter if your opponent blocks a running back to either side. No slide protection or anything like that's going to really affect this blitz. All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at the $3-2 formation, and this is going to be what a lot of people consider the best defense in Madden 24. I don't necessarily agree with that statement. I want to make that very clear. I do not think this is the best defense. I do, however, think that the fact that it's symmetrical, you can do a lot with your coverage shells in terms of putting your safeties into outside thirds. There's a lot of things that make Dollar very good. DB Fire 2 and Spinner are both amazing run defenses. The cover 4 drop and the cover 3 Buzz Spy are good coverages. You have different coverage shells that by default are very good, right? The cover 3 Cloud Show 2, cover 6 Show 4, it gives you your match element. And then what people really like to do is they like to blitz out of the free safety zone blitz play. And this is a good blitz. I don't want to sit here and say it's not. I don't necessarily think it's the best blitz in the game, which, like I said, a lot of people will advertise that, they'll market that, and they'll run with that. It's good. It is definitely a good blitz. It is, however, not my personal favorite. So, with all that being said, the setup is simple. You're going to baseline press, and then you're just going to play on this free safety. You're going to let him take a couple steps down towards the line of scrimmage, and then peel back and play whatever you want, right? So when you do this, you're going to get that consistent A-gap heat, rushing essentially 3 or 4 people, right? Let me go ahead and set my coaching adjustments. The thing that I dislike about this is, A, it's based out of a cover 3 shell. To me, cover 3 shells are harder to adjust out of than your normal cover 2, because a lot of people run cover 2 Mabel, or a cover 4, which is my favorite thing to adjust out of. And then, of course, you can't really run a ton of man coverage out of this. The one thing I will say is that you can utilize the double safety go. And when you do that, or when you run 0 blitz, you have really good man blitzes, which is what a lot of formations lack. So, from a man blitz perspective, $3-2 is amazing. From zone, not so much. So let me just kind of walk you through this. Once again, free safety zone blitz. We're going to go ahead, just call Z-spot again. But you're just going to press, pinch your defensive line, user this free safety. Now, you can user the guy to the right of the screen. It makes the blitz a lot worse. As you can see, this blitz with using the free safety is very good. Now, what makes this blitz amazing is that a lot of people will line shift to the right to pick this blitz up, right? So if they were to go ahead and do that, as you can see, it does pick it up, right? So there's a direct counter to this, which a lot of people have learned recently, which is to back off your right slot corner, right? So when you back him off and you run this, a lot of the times that line shift to the right doesn't work and you still get the A-gap heat. So when you combine everything there, you're forced to block the running back, right? So if you block the running back, and you do the same exact adjustments, you'll see that a blocked running back will do a decent job of picking that up, right? But that's when the blitzing slot cornerbacks come into play. So if you wanted to go ahead and either block or blitz the slot corner or man him up on the running back, right? So with the same adjustments of pulling back that guy, now what happens, as you can see, is a blocked running back no longer works against the blitz. And then if they were to go ahead, let me go ahead flip again because I want to block and slide right. So if I was to do the block slide right trick, right? So we've got this set up. We're good to go. We've got the running back blocked. We've slid to the right. you can see that it just doesn't really work. Even when the linebacker gets tied up, the slot corner comes in a lot of the time. So overall, it's a great blitz. It's just not my personal preference. I don't like adjusting out of cover 3, which is why I stick with 3-3. But with that being said, blocking a running back to the right, if they were to go ahead and simply just block him to the right, you see that the pressure will get picked up, but you're still only sending 4 people. If they have the running back blocked on the right, you can also blitz the slot corner on the running back side, and that will get the A-gap pressure coming in again. You have the flexibility to get the A-gap pressure in basically no matter what your opponent's going to do. I think that is what makes Dollar so damn good, is the sense that you have a counter for almost everything your opponent's going to do, and you have a symmetrical defensive formation that allows you to do that. I think the best way to go about this is to run it out of man coverage. Like I said, free safety zone blitz is not my favorite. I like going about it and doing zero blitz. I've already broke that down. I really like zero blitz. You can also do this at a double safety go.